Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Hefford, and I represent Zafin. I am the Vice President of Cloud Services here at Zafin, and today I'm going to be speaking about Pulsar and how we integrated that with a solution for a unique use case that we received from a financial institution and how we use StreamNative to assist us with implementing that. So what I'll do today, I'll walk you through a little bit on who is Zafin, what we do, the problem statement that we received and what we needed to do to achieve what the bank was looking for, the solution that we presented with Pulsar, and then the Pulsar and StreamNative support that we received in order to implement the solution for that financial institution. So who is Zafin? Zafin is a fintech company. What we do is we deliver unique benefits to financial institutions and specialize in core modernization. What does that mean? Zafin Platforms allows banks to abstract product and pricing from their core systems into a cross-enterprise product innovation layer. This modern approach to enterprise architecture allows banks to innovate their offerings in order to respond to evolving customer needs while complying with continuous regulatory demands. And whether this involves pricing, billing, or rewards and offers, Zafin has a solution for it. We are a 100% fully SaaS organization, and we are completely in the Azure cloud. That allows us to stay agile with our customers and create solutions and custom solutions that fit within our platform. We are a fully API-enabled organization, which means that we have custom REST APIs that are accessible by our customers so that they can create different types of integration layers. We're completely core agnostic. Banking cores and banking core modernization is the hot topic today in the fintech world. Many banks have been looking at replacing their cores with more modern ones. However, this has become a very complex and very difficult thing to do as the core is so integrated into all things the financial institution does from a day-to-day basis. So we are 100% core agnostic and we integrate with just about every single core on the planet. What does that mean? Is that we are trusted by numerous banks around the world, and that includes some big names as Bank of America, US Bank, Barclays, ING, and Truist, not to mention Wells Fargo. So what was the problem that the financial institution came to us and we needed to create a system that needed Pulsar and message brokering? Well, what happened is that a local government passed legislation that told all the financial institutions and banking organizations that they needed to alert their customers when they were coming up on low deposit balances and low available credit on their personal lines of credit. This was to avoid NFT fees and bank fees that would hit your account should you actually run out of money or not have enough money in order to cover an expense, such as an automated withdrawal or a check. This legislation put severe regulatory penalties on banks and financial institutions that did not comply. What happened is this financial institution came to us as they were already a customer of ours and asked us if we could come up with a solution that would provide real-time messaging alerts from the information we already possessed of all of the account information for specific clients and alert them when these types of things happened. So if you had a low deposit amount, what the alert must contain is the balance of the deposit account, charges or penalties that may be imposed for the most recent transaction or any subsequent transaction made on the account. The alert shall also indicate what the person may do to avoid charges or penalties, and the time within the action must be taken in order to avoid that charge or penalty. So say you have an automatic withdrawal coming out today, you would have received a notification saying, you do not have enough money in your account, please take action before the end of the day today in order to avoid any additional fees. The same with lines of credit. The alert must include the credit available on the line of credit or credit card, charges or penalties that may be imposed for most recent transactions or any subsequent transactions. The alert shall also indicate what the person may do to avoid these charges or penalties, and the time within the action must be taken in order to avoid the charge. Again, let's say you're running out of space on your credit card and you have an automatic withdrawal coming out or an automatic bill payment coming out to that credit card. This system would notify you and allow you and let you know that you do not have enough funds on the account in order to cover that charge. Therefore, you'd be able to pay off a certain amount, transfer amount of funds, or do what you would need to do in order to avoid those fees. Okay. So what did we do? So we ended up selecting Pulsar because we needed a simple, easy to use messaging broker out of the box with minimal configuration needed in order to install, configure, and operationalize. We needed to be able to increase capacity and dynamically assign resources without restarting the application, as this application needs to stay 24/7, 365 available so that there is no messages that go unacknowledged or unsent, and no customers that don't get alerted of a potential issue, creating a regulatory violation. We also needed geo-replication. This was in case that there was any kind of DR or emergency failover event that we needed to go to our backup location and that no messages would be lost and the customer would still receive the message in a timely manner so that their accounts could be addressed before the bank fees would arrive. We also have a multi-year retention period that the message need to be stored on cheap storage in order to cost control the solution. So what we need to do is we need to store all these messages so that if a customer ever encountered a dispute, that we could go back and pull out the messages for a specific customer. Although storage can be fairly inexpensive, we needed to be able to retain this information for a lengthy period of time on cold storage in order to cost control and make the solution economical. We also need out-of-the-box monitoring to ensure the visibility of what the system is doing, and that's always active and all the alerts are on. We did not want to get into trying to come up with a custom monitoring solution so that we could see when certain messages were going into error, not being alerted, or that messages were not being received by the customer themselves. Therefore, we needed this type of monitoring to work directly with the messaging brokerage system that we decided to implement. Again, because there is no downtime allowed here, real-time upgrades needed to be able to happen without downtime. And that both included our Kubernetes cluster, our Pulsar cluster, and also the application that hosts this. We also needed easy integration into our already deployed AKS. Zafin possesses quite a bit of engineering skill in Azure Kubernetes services, Kubernetes Cloud, and all those cloud services that come natively when you have Azure. We could not afford to waste time on training and making sure that the people that were going to be operating the message broker system had delays in that knowledge for lengthy resolution times. So how did Pulsar meet these needs? We easily add additional partitions to a topic. We made use of this to increase our throughput without restarting any of the applications. So should the bank have a burst of messages that require more capacity, we were able to take advantage of that. The Pulsar geo-replication allows us to replicate everything into a DR region without any performance penalty so that we could seamlessly fail over into our DR location. The storage offloading, we had multi-retention requirement, which I mentioned, which we solved using Pulsar's offloading to cheap storage, which allowed us to keep the solution economical. The StreamNative bubbles, Prometheus, and Grafana with Pulsar installation, making it very easy to get the monitoring set up. This was super beneficial as the monitoring was very effective upon go live and before go live that allowed us to identify issues even within our own application that was outside of Pulsar that prepped us for go live and allowed us to meet our go live dates on time. The Kubernetes and Pulsar upgrades can also be completed without downtime, again, meeting that real-time availability need. The StreamNative Kubernetes operator significantly simplified the management of the Pulsar cluster and it eased the learning curve for my engineers. This allowed us to be able to put this solution together very quickly and be able to support it on go live with confidence. Now, what is our solution that we ended up coming up with? Well, what we decided to do was deploy MicroHub Proxy, and that is the front door of the MicroHub platform. The proxy provides Stomp over WebSocket connection protected with MTLS for bidirectional message passing between the client and Pulsar. What this does is that it decouples Pulsar from the client side and provides an interface using already approved web technologies. Therefore, this allowed us to make our solution agnostic so that we didn't have to comply with any of the bank's specific technology needs, and we could allow them to communicate to us over any WebSocket they desire. Then, with Pulsar Cluster, it acts as a backbone service for the MicroHub platform. It is responsible for real-time streaming of messages between services and long-term message retention. So once the messages came into our MicroHub, Pulsar decided what to do with it. And it would communicate with our Flink job to perform calculations or store the message for the real-time replication, for the real-time alerting pulls, so that if we need to pull this from our cold storage, we could do so appropriately. Then with Flink, It's what we use to perform the real-time calculation to determine if the incoming transaction should actually trigger an alert to the end customer. Of course, we store everything within our Postgres database, and it stores all the customer preferences, account balances created from the Pulsar messaging stream, and is easy accessible format for debugging and reporting and reconciliation. So what this does is the Apache Flink operator speaks to the database, compares the transactions against the already existing data for that customer, and then decides if a message should go through. Now, we also implemented Spring Cloud Dataflow. Dataflow task generates reconciliation reports for all account details in the system from the database to a file every 2 weeks, or on demand if required. The reason we had to do this was because the bank wanted to make sure that all of the messages that were being sent out to clients were accurate, on time, and delivered with confidence. This allowed them to run a reconciliation report against the data that they had internally to make sure that all of the regulatory requirements were met, and allowed them to create a report to the regulatory body to prove that they were all sent. Now, what I'd like to talk a little bit about is how Pulsar with StreamNative supported us during our go live and how we were able to get this done within the given time frame that the bank needed. So upon the go live of this project, we did have an issue observed with message acknowledgement in Pulsar, causing our Flink job to fail. It was unknown at that time if it was due to Pulsar or Flink, or what the service issue might be. StreamNative support was able to act extremely quickly and provide the expertise required and at the time to troubleshoot the issue. They were able to get on a screen sharing session with us. They were able to work with our engineers, speak the same language, and enable us to come up with a solution. What they provided us was a temporary workaround to keep the system up and running while the root cause was being addressed in the background. This was extremely beneficial because it meant that the system never went down, and it meant that the customer satisfaction for the go live was always kept high. This allowed the client to stay completely functional, and the client was very impressed with the experience. During all of this, StreamNative was able to provide access to the core Pulsar committers, and with their expertise and experience, they were able to help create a permanent fix. This fix went in very seamlessly. The upgrade happened without bringing down the application. We also did a Kubernetes upgrade at the same time, with also not having to bring down the application. Overall, it was a very positive experience in order to deliver the solution for the bank and for the StreamNative to deliver this solution to Zafin. In conclusion, we've been running this service now for over a year, servicing this regulatory requirement that this financial institution had asked us to create. It has allowed us to create more business for other financial institutions that may have to meet the same regulatory requirements. And it was able to help us procure, integrate, and set up a real-time messaging broker with the assistance of StreamNative. They set up a Pulsar and a cloud-native distributed open source pub sub message and streaming platform. Zafin was able to deliver the service in a timely manner, and all parties were extremely pleased with the service that was provided. Us being happy with the StreamNative service that we got in terms of support and getting this up and running in a very effective manner, and the financial institution for delivering the project on time. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me today, and thank you.